Hi everybody, Steve here with Global Dating Channel. Wanted to do this video today on the changes that we've seen with American women, from the way they used to be in the 70s and 60s, 70s, and 80s to now. I mean, it really changed a lot in the 90s and then the 2000s. And I'm going to mainly be referring to the single scene. When I refer to the single scene, I'm talking about bars and clubs mainly, because in general, although people do meet each other at Bible study or other social functions, maybe related to their work, but overall, most of the way Americans meet when they think about meeting other singles is either through the internet dating or mainly going out on the weekend. And where do you go on the weekend if you're thinking to meet other singles? It's bars or clubs. That's just the way it goes nowadays. So that's what I mean when I refer to single scene, the way women are in the single scene. So what I've noticed in the single scene in the States, I'm about to be 49, so I dated back in the 80s, latter half of the 80s and all through the 90s and up to now. And I've seen and watched these differences develop and change. And I've noticed a dramatic change in American women starting in the later mid to late 90s to early 2000s. In what I've noticed is that they become more narcissistic, stuck up, and crude, or just cold-hearted, the way they treat guys, um, and the way they treat guys that might want to say hi or approach them or whatever. And that matches with what social psychologist Gene Twenge says was the rise in narcissism among women was also during that time period. So when you look at what the expert says about it, like social psychologists, think it kind of explains why women change so much. So what I'm referring to is I'm just going to give you a few quick examples. Like it's like starting in the mid 90s, and it just got worse after then. I started to notice girls like being really stuck up. Like if you try to say hi to them, just people go to bars or clubs to meet other people. For the most part, most people do. Okay, so I think it's only natural that somebody's going to try to talk to you. And a lot of American girls don't act like they don't like that you're trying to talk to them. Like, I guess if they don't find you their type or attractive, they'll just be really rude. They'll either sometimes they'll just ignore you. I've had girls flat out ignore me. Watched them do it to other guys. I've had girls laugh, kind of like it's obvious they know I've tried to say hello to them, but they'll just turn to their friend and laugh, like not like for a good reason, laugh for a reason like they're kind of making fun of you, like look at this idiot trying to talk to me or something. You can tell. They don't have to say it. Your body language and everything gives off the vibe, and then I've had women get angry, just get upset that I tried to talk to them. I'm not being drunk or being stuck up myself. I'm always down to earth, normal, and some examples, like I'll give two examples. Like one girl, I sat down next, I was going to sit down on the couch next to one girl in a club here in Dallas. It was a bar here in Dallas. And I just said, hello, how you doing? What else are you going to say to somebody as you sit down next to them? Just a casual conversation. And when I did that, she jumped up so fast to get away from me that she broke her champagne glass, broke all over the floor. And people around us thought I had said something bad to her. And they said, oh man, what did you say to her? Like, as if I had to have said something nasty to her. I said, no, I just said, hey, how are you? And that's how women are, very defensive these days. Like, I don't know what this fear of men is. And then they'll act like a lot of girls will just, act like, you're bothering me, leave me alone. Like I've had a lot of girls just recoil, like, I don't know, in like disgust, like I'm really bothering them by trying to say hello, by trying to talk to them, like, oh, like that, and just turn away. It's not uncommon with American women these days. And uh, and I never encountered anything like that, going overseas to other countries. And some people say, well, because you're a foreigner, Steve, of course, they're not going to do that to you because you're different to them. You're the foreigner. So, but I would have to argue against that because I've watched how women treat their local men. I've been to the Philippines and watched how Filipinos treat Filipinos. I've been to Latin America, watched how Latin American women treat Latino men. And I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the bad behavior, and I haven't heard. I've talked to men from many different countries. None of them have confirmed or talked about their women being like rude like that or stuck up. And they're not. They're humble actually. Even the good-looking ones are. So it's a problem here in America. And social psychologist Jean Twenge talks like 3 different times in her book. She says that the rise in the narcissism epidemic in America was mainly and mostly among the women. And I've got quotes for that. I think I've mentioned my other videos, but and that makes sense, you know. And the other thing, another example, about 5 months ago, this is the other one I can think of. This is just another example of what I'm talking about. I was outside of a bar. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I was getting ready to go home because it was getting so late. And I had a buddy with me because I had to wait on him. And so when I walked outside just to chill out outside, and this girl's right there. So I kind of leaned up against the wall, brick wall right by her. And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And she said, "You know what she said to me? Check this out, guys." She said, "Hey, you need to keep on walking." Just like that, just like the expression I gave you, you need to keep on walking. And all I did was say, "Hey, how are you?" You know, just like I did with the other girl. I mean, that's what I usually say to girls. You know, I don't have pickup lines or anything. I just try to introduce myself, you know, just be casual. Wasn't drunk or anything. So what I'm saying is that there's some kind of problem that's I don't know if it's kind of an illness or sickness. I don't know what to call it that's infected American women, but they're very mean, very cold-hearted, and not all of them. But this is a trend. You know, of course, there's some nice ones too, right? I'm not saying they're all like that, but I would say out of 100% in any given night, 1 out of 5 women, 20% are just like I described. They're rude, nasty, and just horrible, you know, like what is wrong with them, you know? And then maybe the next 30% are kind of that way. And then you go up, you know what I mean? There's different levels of it. But for the most part, most women are infected to one degree or another. Just it just depends how much. And there's very few, maybe only 20, 25% of American women any given night that are actually decent to people and nice to people. And you know, even if they don't like a guy and he says hello, they'll just say, "Hey, how are you? Fine." Yeah. But and then she'll give body language, you know, of not continuing the conversation. The women give it body language and stuff off that doesn't have to be rude. That just kind of shows she's not really interested in following the conversation or whatever. And you know, and what I've also noticed is that of all the years I've been in the U.S. meeting girls here at bars or clubs, single scenes, you know, I've never encountered bad experiences with women who have immigrated here who haven't been here very long. Like foreign women that have only been in America for 1, 2 years, for 4 or 5 years, they've always been really nice because I get to know like, hey, where are you from? How long have you been here? And I realize, you know, just from my experiences that it's American culture that changes women. So a lot of these immigrant women come here humble, very sweet and very kind to people. Whether it's in a bar or not, they're still very nice to people, and they change after so much time, and they learn to become bitchy, just like American women at the bars and clubs. So you know, I think bars and clubs, that's not an excuse for anybody, man or woman, to become an asshole like women have become in America's bar and club scene. You know, it's not an excuse to say, "Oh, it's okay because it's in a bar." No, I mean, it's okay if a guy's being a jerk. It's okay if a guy's drunk and approaching you. I agree. It's okay to be that way if somebody's kind of disrespecting you by being a fool, you know. I'm okay with that. And but yeah, anytime there's just so many situations where you try to talk to a girl in America and they're just repulsed from you and they'll just give you this nasty look. And I don't know what's wrong with them, you know. So I just wanted to comment on this observation of how American women have changed, you know, from today versus the way they used to be. And that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss. Thanks.